Kevin Kerr from Tokyo CSC. Welcome to Celtic World.
Arigato gozaimasu.
Yes, it's wonderful to have you. David, in Glasgow, you speak any Japanese there? Can you ogenki desu ka or anything?
No, sadly no. I think Asahi is the extent of my Japanese.
Asahi.
Yeah.
Well, it's a good word, you know.
Welcome, Kevin. Nice to see you again.
Yes, no, you two gentlemen have met in Bangkok, I believe. Were you at the big Bangkok Hootenanny or whatever it's called?
No, it was Kevin was passing through one weekend, came to visit the world famous Bangkok Celtic Supporters Club. So we sat and watched a game together, had a few beers, and then we sat down and had a drink. It was a great evening, and great to see you again, Kevin.
And Kevin, you're in Derry, as it says there, free Derry, but you live in Japan, right?
Yeah. So I went to Japan for the first time, and like I said earlier, 2023, fell in love with the place. I mean, you know, obviously David's been there before; he can attest to that. It's something special that you'll not get anywhere else in the world. But I went there, kind of fell in love of a Japanese fiance, and I just really felt at home. The thing about Japan is it's almost like you have a sense of nostalgia for a place that you've never been to, which is like kind of profound in itself, you know? Like you feel at home there.
Yeah. Well, we've both been, David and I have both been. I went a few years ago on like a sort of family holiday.
Sure.
My sister-in-law lives in Yokohama.
Okay, so, that's quite close to where Jasmine, my fiance, is from. She lives in Hayama, which is about 20 minutes in the train from Yokohama. So around that kind of area where Kamakura, the old Japanese capital, is, and stuff like that.
Well, let's not get too deep into the geography first. Let's zoom out and educate the intellectual heavyweights of the Celtic World audience who love a bit of a geography lesson at the start of all of these CSC shows. So I'm going to share some pics. Here we go. So here we are. Japan is in the center of the screen there, a little bit to the right. Islands of Japan, just off South Korea. David is in Thailand, and I'm down here in Malaysian Borneo. So we're all in roughly the same area. Well, except for the fact that David's in Glasgow and you're in Derry, but you know what I mean, normally. So this is Japan, and Tokyo is located here. Osaka down here, Hiroshima, Fukuoka. These are probably places that people recognize. You got that, the names of. And this is downtown Tokyo, and you can see what is highlighted there in red, Kevin.
The Footnik was the place that we emigrated to after the second half. There's a bit of a funny story about the second half. Like it's a British pub, so whenever you have Celtic fans in there, you get a wee bit rowdy. Nobu, basically the leader of the Celtic Supporters Club, he threw a Union Jack Colonel. So it descended on the people above in the very busy street. A flag came down out of nowhere, and the owner of that pub was like, "We don't want Celtic fans in here anymore. You're too rowdy and too obnoxious."
Surely not.
So we went to the Footnik, and it's a lot better. To be honest, they understand like how football works, and like they really put a lot of respect into any team that comes in there, basically.
It's also described as a British pub, I see.
So that's it there.
Mm-hmm. And here's the beers that are available. You were mentioning backstage, David, craft beers in Japan. What do we see here? Sapporo, Yahisu. Are you familiar with those two?
Yeah. Is it Yabisu?
Oh, is it Yabisu? Okay. But what is this abomination at the bottom of the screen? See this one? What is going on there? It's a disgrace.
Jesus, look at that.
In Glasgow, we get a half and a half, but that's a half pint of beer and a half of whiskey. But no, that's an abomination, Gav. Okay,
so that's where the CSC meets then to watch the games in the Footnik. What sort of crowds would you get in downtown Tokyo?
You get people from everywhere. You get a lot of people from Glasgow, a lot of people from Ireland. I actually ran into someone that grew up about a 5-minute walk from where I live, in the Footnik. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, all corners of the world, we exist, Celtic fans exist, and they come from everywhere. And whether it's people on a holiday, whether it's people, just looking to watch a match, there's Japanese people that go in there, and by the end of the night, they're Celtic fans, which is a beautiful thing, really.
That's actually one feature of the Tokyo CSC, quite obvious, is the amount of local fans of Celtic, local to that area. Because, let's face it, many CSCs are just populated by expats. And there's maybe a few locals will get sort of drawn into the vortex. But the numbers seem pretty big. When I go through the pictures of the CSC, there's loads of Japanese faces. And as you say, the boss man at the moment is Nobu, who everybody probably knows. We'll come on to him in a second. Here's people watching the game in the boozer. Is this a typical scene?
Absolutely. That could be, away to Ross County, basically, and you'll pack out the bar for it, 100%. There's always people that have an interest in Celtic, and obviously a lot of it obviously Shinsuke Nakamura was one of our greatest ever, but that's where the fascination kind of stemmed from. And I mean, after that we had just numerous Japanese players that caught the attention of the country, and they were on headline news, so people really felt a sense of what Celtic were about, and they developed an interest in it. So in terms of Japan, I remember one day I went to just basically the 7-Eleven to get a bottle of water, and there was a guy in there in the 2002 away shirt, a Japanese guy. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, how is this possible? We're just a small team from Scotland, but Jesus. I couldn't believe it.
Massive club. It's a Celtic world, Kevin. Haven't you heard?
I'm just being modest.
No, but it's true. The love affair between Celtic and Japan in particular at the moment is very strong.
Yeah, absolutely.
Obviously because of the 3 big successes we've had recently. And a couple more to come. Maybe we'll talk about that at the end of the show. But let's focus back on the club. Is this like the sort of lead flag, would you say? I see tons of flags and logos for Tokyo Celtic Supporters Club.
I would say that the main flag is Nobu's Far East Envoy.
Okay.
But yeah, this would be a prominent one as well.
Yeah, so this one here.
There you go. So the guy second from the left, that's Jordan, who is born and bred, and he moved to Japan. He just moved recently back to Glasgow, but he lived here for quite a few years. That's Nobu, of course, on the right, and that's David in the middle, absolute legend. It's lovely to see this. I've never seen. Thank you for showing me that.
So when I was doing a little bit of research into the CSC, I was looking up Celtic wiki and things like that, and I read a lot about Martin Burns. Are you familiar with Martin?
I'm not. I mean, like, to be honest, I'm quite new to the supporters club in Tokyo. Like I said, the first time I went there was 2023. But I mean, usually when it comes to people that you can quote, you would know them. But like I don't know them. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Sure. I mean, I think he was instrumental in the setting up or running of it some time ago. Here he is
Okay.
presenting some ceremonial swords or something to wee Gordon.
Yeah.
And
Gordon
there he
Strachan
is.
looked exactly like my granny.
Okay. Right. Good to know. There's Nakamura, as you say. And this is Nobu, the character that many people will recognize, who's just like the face, I suppose, of the Tokyo CSC. He's obviously just Celtic mad.
Yeah. Nobu, like the first time that I met Nobu, we were all in an Irish bar in Shibuya, in one of the busiest parts of Tokyo, and Nobu came around the corner going, "Hail, hail, the Celts are here!" And it's not, kind of common to sing in the street in Japan. Like it's generally frowned upon. But he came walking around the corner and he had a bottle of Buckfast, like a wee half bottle of Buckfast. Somebody brought him over, and from that moment, you're like, all right, this boy's okay. He knows the crack. But he's central to what the Tokyo Supporters Club is. He basically dedicated his life to Celtic. It goes over every year to Vegas to that that thing that we do at the hotel, and no, he's something special, and just the passion about Celtic flows from him. He's a good man.
Do you know how he got interested in Celtic in the first place? What the story is?
Well, he's been a Celtic fan for, I would say, about 30 or 40 years. Like it was before any Japanese like kind of connection or anything like that. So he's been, there. He watched Celtic beat Dunfermline in the 90s. Like he's been there. And he just loves the team, loves the culture, loves everything about us. So, I mean, what else can you want from a fan, really?
Well, his name came up, or his face came up before on the show, I remember, and Stephen from Sydney said, "Oh, I know that guy. He was down at the Australia event, and he came out, I think, of the CSC there, Scruffy Murphy's, and there's a tram stop, and Stephen reckons that Nobu was the drunkest person Stephen has ever seen in his life at that event.
Fits the description. But it's like kind of a jovial drunk, not like a kind of sloppy falling about the place drunk. He's like just singing, "Go on home, British soldiers" or something like that. So it's absolutely fine. Like you can kind of take care of him, and he's okay.
Yeah. Well, let's have a look at some of his travels, David, shall we?
Definitely.
I'd be excited to see these. There he is in Barcelona.
Yeah.
Sporting the colours.
Go.
Who's that? Who's that fan he's with?
Yeah, the ball KT.
This is an interesting one. On this day in 2011, which shows, already that's a long time ago for, a foreign fan. He was at Parkhead to see the game against them all the way from Japan. He brought that "Thank you Celtic for supporting Japan" banner made by Tokyo CSC to raise at halftime. It happened a great earthquake, tsunami, and nuclear plants meltdown. Fukushima.
It came up on the, like it was shown on the TV.
No, that's quite very famous, isn't it? That "Thank you for supporting Japan." I've definitely seen that before. Haven't you, David?
The first time I've seen it, actually, it's quite funny how he refuses to call them Sefco or anything else. It's like, against them. Them who should not be named. He seems an absolute legend.
He messaged me one day at like 4 a.m. in Japanese time, and he said, "Have you ever seen a handsome Hun?" What did he like kind of respond to with that? Like, no, he's just all about the crack. Like he gets it. He's up for having a bit of fun, like about it as well. So good guy.
And here's a couple of good guys together. Very sad to hear Lisbon legend John Clark's passed away. Met him a couple of times. This picture was taken September 2022. Thoughts and prayers. Never walk alone.
Rest in peace, John. That was a gut punch when I saw that happened. What do you say? I mean, every Lisbon Lion that dies, you just, your heart sinks a wee bit further. And, too, was a lot of Rangers fans were complimenting John Clark and, just saying that he was a gentleman and things like that. And, I mean, that's I couldn't care about their opinions, but it was nice to see a bit of respect in that element,
Well, with everyone that dies, you're just getting closer and closer to just being a memory, a non-living memory kind of, which is inevitable, but very sad. Here's another legend that's no longer with us. The King.
Oh.
This was, as you mentioned, this must be in Vegas.
Oh God, that's a lovely photo.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Nobu knows his history. Like he completely knows his history about Celtic, and he could outmatch anybody on any day about his knowledge of the club and history of it. So, it's just great to see you kind of pay tribute to him, because in Japan we all love him and respect him, and he's basically Mr. Celtic in Japan.
Mm-hmm. And of course, it would have been great to have him on the show, Kevin. But I think, as you said, he's quite shy. It wouldn't be his bag.
Yeah, he didn't seem too interested. I mean, I'll send him the link to this and let him watch it. And to see both of you pay a bit of tribute to him. Nobu would be very happy to have you speak so highly of him. So I'll send a link to the podcast and he'll have a watch of it. I mean, what can you do? He is someone who lives and breathes Celtic, and I think he's a bit shy, obviously, as well. So I don't think he would have been up for something like this, this broadcast to the world. So, but if you meet him, if you get the chance to meet him, you'll love him. He's amazing.
Yeah. Probably the number one Asian Celtic fan, would you say?
100%. Yeah, undoubtedly.
Well, I think Tam in Seoul might have something to say about that.
Wow. Yeah, Sodwell is good. Yeah, in the top two. So, hopefully we'll get more people coming on telling us how big fans they are as well. But certainly everything you're saying about Nobu is special. The stories you were saying about, throwing the Union Jack flag out the window from the top floor of some sort of pub that you were in before, and he's just embraced the Celtic, sort of family.
He's a special guy. He really is. Who have we got? There he is on the end, screaming.
Even the name Far East End Bhoys is a moment of genius, isn't it?
No, it's beautiful. It's the most fitting name that you could have for the Celtic supporters in Japan.
Okay, so let's move the conversation on for a moment, if we can, just from Nobu back to sort of life in Japan generally and Tokyo specifically. Now, I've got a video here, which I'm going to play, and as I do so, Kevin, can you fill us in on sort of what you're seeing and what does it represent in terms of life in Tokyo. Give people a flavour of what it's like to live there.
Of course, no problem. So I think this is possibly Shibuya, which is generally a huge hub of, tourists, Japanese people. Something that's fascinating to kind of see firsthand. It's the postcard Japan, basically what you see in films. That would be, it's Shinjuku, just above Shibuya. Okay. So this is the biggest crosswalk in the world. And obviously every minute people will cross the road there. And it's a big Kodak moment, basically, for people. Here you have some of the shrines. Absolutely beautiful to visit and breathe in the culture. There's Sensoji Temple, lovely place. Been there twice. You make wishes for your dead relatives there, which it's quite a nice thing. You're showing basically postcard Japan here, like why people want to go there, why people love it, and I do enjoy a bit of sushi as well. And cherry blossoms.
One thing I noticed when I was there was how, it's incredibly developed, obviously, Japan, but this is the Golden Turd or something they called it. Yeah, some piece of art installation was unfortunately likened to. Yes,
I thought it was Trump's hair.
Very good.
Touché, David.
No,
it looks like his hair.
Seriously, I thought that was Trump's hair.
There you go, Mount Fuji. Yeah, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, all these walkways that are like, you don't walk at street level half the time. You're up in these sort of raised walkways, so you don't have to deal with traffic quite a lot.
Yeah,
which I found really amazing. And also, I looked out of my hotel window in the morning at like 7 a.m. and there was like an army of people washing the streets and making them nice and fresh and lemon zesty for the next day. The place was just spotless.
It's generally, I think Japan and Singapore are generally kind of regarded as the cleanest countries. But you could literally eat off the street. Like it's that clean. Like they do an immaculate job with whatever they do. And then I look at parts of how long's that bag been sitting there,
I heard that because the Japanese yen has been so weak, you're getting so many tourists coming now that the Japanese are actually getting a bit pissed off because people are coming that are not respecting their culture. People that they drop litter everywhere. It's a bit like in the old days when everyone used to go to Dublin for their stag do. And Dublin were quite happy for the cash. They didn't need all the nonsense that came with it. And and I think it's a bit the same for Japan. The economy is not the strongest just now, and you would be welcoming the tourists, but they're only welcoming the sort of the classy kind of Celtic type level tourists. The people that respect their culture and their land. And
So basically, you said that you were in Kyoto, David, yeah?
Yeah, Kyoto and Osaka. Yeah.
Osaka.
Fantastic.
Very close to each other, like, half an hour on the train or something between the two cities. But in Kyoto, because Kyoto was the old capital of Japan, so you have a lot of like traditional Japanese people there, like people who are, wearing, clothes from the Edo period and, things like that. So there was a whole thing about tourists in Japan where they weren't respecting the locals. And, there was people following like geishas on the street and, with their phone in their face. And
I
stuff
saw
like
that. Americans, and other people come up and saying, stop doing that. You're not allowed to do that.
It's disgraceful. I mean, the part of Tokyo that I lived in, Higashi-Jujo, which is in the north of Tokyo, You would occasionally get like kind of, people who are dressed in traditional clothes, and no one bats an eyelid at that. Like you walk past and you think, okay, that's interesting, but at the same time, they're still people. You don't want to bother them. You don't want to, ruin their day by throwing a phone in their face. It's not right.
And I'm wondering, what do you do in Japan, or what do a lot of people from the CSC do? A lot of international school teachers and things like that, or what are the sort of mix of professions?
Yeah, so Jordan, one of the fellas from the photo there that you showed a bit back there, he was, I think, a language teacher. A lot of people are working for Japanese companies with English speaking, like kind of context. It's just different. Like everyone's doing different things. Like I know a boy from Fife, and he owns a bar in Japan. So, I mean, all walks of life, everything that you can imagine is there, really.
Yeah, we've got quite a lot of regulars on, that listening. They'll be listening in this week when we show the podcast from Fife. So
up the Fife,
yeah.
All right, back to the CSC then. Here's a jovial scene. This is one of the pictures I was referring to earlier, Kevin. Like, there's very few white faces there. There's far more Japanese in that particular photograph.
Oh God, look at that! Really, when it comes to the Tokyo Supporters Club, is the majority of the Tokyo CSC are Japanese. Usually, when you have a CSC anywhere in the world, they are predominantly like expats, people that are living in different countries. Like, but when you go to Tokyo, it's mostly Japanese that are at the matches and that are enjoying themselves.
I like how it's a good mix of men and women as well.
Yeah, loads of Japanese women love Celtic. Loads of Japanese men.
I can imagine all of our listeners, they heard that there's good value for money to be had because of the exchange rate, and there's loads of Japanese women who love Celtic. They'll be booking their tickets in droves, David, after this.
Definitely. And the women are beautiful as well, as Kevin can surely attest. Was it Jasmine, you said?
Well, I mean, she like kind of, how can I put this? Whenever I told her, my second love will always be Celtic. You can't say that it's my first love because she'll, beat the shit out of me. But I told her about Celtic. I took her to a Celtic against Rangers game in the second half when we were in there with the supporters club, and she just loved it. She absolutely loved it, and she said to me the next day, what was the name of that song? Ooh, ah, 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 ah. And I was like, oof, oof. We'll not talk about that. But she fell in love with it. She, met people from Scotland, people from Ireland there that were, super nice to her, like just treating her like family. She had her hoops on. She was loving life. Like, there we go. It's me and her.
What's this occasion?
So this is when Celtic played Yokohama Marinos. That's where we got like Dyson from, where we got Nakamura from. So they played Celtic in a friendly. When was it? Or a 20? And Yokohama Marinos won 6-4.
Mm-hmm. Didn't Dyson score a hat-trick in that game or something?
Yes, he did. That was Dyson's hat-trick. 3 from our boy Dyson.
This is her again, is it?
Yeah, so this is the second half. And that's the signed Nakamura shirt.
When you say the second half, you mean a bar called the second half that the CSC used to meet in?
Yeah, that's where we used to kind of watch games, and they didn't like us basically, especially after what Nobu did with the flag. But no, it is what it is, and they have a signed Nakamura shirt. Obviously, is a privilege. So.
Mm-hmm. And is your fiance fully Japanese? She looks almost Western there.
So her dad is from Devon in England, and her mum is Japanese.
Okay. Hope you don't think this is getting too personal now.
Yeah. No, you're okay. You can see obviously that she's not fully Japanese, so it's fine. But no, big Celtic fan, good person.
Excellent. Right, here's some more CSC pictures with various people in various places. I'm not sure what these events are. Hail, hail, the Celts are here in Tokyo.
I'm not sure when this was, but no, it's beautiful to see. I remember there was a St. Patrick's celebration in Tokyo the week before St. Patrick's Day, and basically everyone turned up in Celtic tops. And I've never shook hands with as many people in my life, to be honest.
What do you think of this one, David?
Rangers, that?
Well, it's some other club with it's nothing to do with it's some other club called the something Rangers that's got nothing to do with football, I imagine, right?
It's probably like a baseball team.
That's what I think it is, yes.
Like Japanese are mad for baseball.
Yeah, and the photo is edited to make it look like it's the Rangers club with Celtic fans outside it, giving it laldy. Okay, so here's a photograph that seems to fly in the face of any suggestion that CSEs are just full of old, aging expats. Young fella supporting Dyson.
Of course. So the Celtic game against Aranos, there was like endless children with Dyson 38 on their shirt, and Intriguing as well, Kobayashi, who he left us and he wasn't great for it. There was a wild lot of people that had his name on the shirt for some reason. Dyson, he's been our rock. He's the man. Like there's no other way about it. But in terms of the most popular Japanese footballer that plays for Celtic, it's always been Dyson. It's never been Kyogo. It's never been anyone else.
I think Kobayashi got a bad deal with Celtic. I think he was really unfortunate when he almost get his ankle broken against Alloa with Ferguson's team. Just going out to kick whoever they could. So who knows what he could have been, but it was definitely unlucky.
I was listening to a podcast that the other David sent me, the Celts Are Here podcast that Quinny did, where he spoke to a guy who knows a lot about Japanese football. Kevin, we haven't talked about how much you know, but this guy, who's a bit of a J-League expert, he had incredibly high hopes for Kobayashi. He thought he was going to be a huge success at Celtic. And he thinks this Inamura fella is, very green, and he doesn't really understand it. And he sees him as totally a development player. He can't believe that he's going to be featuring this season. Do you know much about Inamura, or indeed these other players were linked with these strikers?
Inamura is predominantly a left back from Nagata, and I haven't really seen too much of him in terms of play. I'm not going to bullshit about that, but he's got kind of high hopes. I think he's in the Japan under-21s, like a lot of caps for that. But if you look at obviously Greg Taylor is leaving. He's going to PAOK, and in Greece. So I think with him, he's always going to be like kind of a backup for Tierney, and probably not a bad shout if he's a young player in development, and he's got a lot of good compliments about him, a lot of under-21 caps. So I mean, let's just see what he does.
Is he not a centre back, a left-sided centre back though?
He is left centre back and left back. He can play either of the two roles, but I don't know. I mean, it's to be honest, I'm about weary about the signing. I don't know what he can bring to the team. So
I don't think he'll bring anything. I think they'll be feeding him protein shakes and training him to get in hard, and then they'll put him out on loan to Air United or someone, get Bruni to toughen him up, and then bring him back and see if he's got the minerals, as they say.
Get the legs kicked off him by Clydebank.
Yeah.
I love a Celtic world. If I haven't subscribed yet, I am gonna do it right now. Woohoo!
David, who are these other strikers that people are talking about? I mean, this is recorded on Tuesday. Maybe by Thursday everyone will know more, but who are these guys?
Yeah, apparently there's a couple of Japanese strikers who've been linked with. I think they've got the same name. Is it Yamada? There's a Shin Yamada and a Fuki, Fuki. I think that's the only way you could possibly pronounce that one, Gav.
Yeah.
So I think their scoring record doesn't seem to be too impressive. But again, it could be, maybe like if you look at, some of the players we've had in the past. I think one of the things with Rodgers is that he's got a great record for developing players. So who knows? Let's fingers crossed. We always wish our players all the best before we throw them under the bus. So yeah, fingers crossed.
Yeah, Yamada, he is playing for Kawasaki Frontale. That's where we got Rio from, for example. So, it could be a shrewd signing, like in that aspect. It could be something that, it would be a good backup to Dyson, because we have to play Dyson through the middle this year. There's no other way about it. He's too good.
Not after we've bought Quistgarden or someone at the last day of the window.
It's been going on for, it's the longest romance saga in history.
Yeah.
Us with Quistgarden. I don't think he's going to come. Apparently, I've read that we have no interest in him anymore, and there's stumbling blocks around his signature. So, who knows? Who knows? Either way, we'll be lifting that trophy again.
Definitely.
For sure.
100%.
All right. Don't know if you're aware of this, Kevin, but this is on Nobu's Twitter feed. He's got the 3 Japanese boys. One is X, though. Autograph on his banner from top to bottom: Kyogo, Reo, and Dyson. So is that on the big flag that travels everywhere? It's got the 3 signatures.
To be honest, I haven't noticed it on it, but that's something beautiful. Obviously, they get they were our 3 biggest Japanese players apart from Mura, Kyogo, Dyson, and Rio. I didn't notice it on the flag, but if I see it, I'll kiss it.
Well, don't make sure your lips are nice and dry. But I don't want you smudging the signatures.
Of course.
Here's another interesting picture now. This is obviously at Celtic because that's Davy McLaughlin there, the guy who does the tours, and Nobu obviously in the centre, and then a Ploughboys representative in the background. And
Ploughboys Philadelphia.
And the guy on the right is what, Napoli maybe, or don't know what's going on there.
Is that Maradona?
What shirt is that? It must be the Maradona Napoli shirt.
Yeah. Interesting picture, that one, though.
Holding up the blue strip beside the Celtic That is traversal, to say the least.
And you mentioned earlier that Nobu went to Las Vegas for the convention. This is where this picture comes from. Were there many went over from Tokyo CSC, or is he like a sort of solo traveller to these things?
I would say probably just him went to that. I know people from here, from Derry and from around Donegal that would have went. Yeah, I reckon it probably was just him. He would have went to that solo.
It's good to see it represented. There's I assume that's Ballymurphy, Belfast, it says there, on one side of that. Next year, of course, it's not in Vegas. It's going to be in New Orleans. David, were you aware of this? The convention's going to be in New Orleans. And when I was talking about it to the American guys, or they were discussing it on one of the Celtic World North America shows recently, I would be tempted to think about that. I wouldn't fancy Vegas too much, because it's, gambling and going to casinos, and it's all, there's no culture, but New Orleans is a very cultured place. It'd be fascinating, I think, to see around there.
Oh, I'd love to go to Las Vegas. I'd love to go to Las Vegas as well. I must admit, the gambling and all that low life stuff is exactly down my street. but certainly
$2 hookers.
Well, exactly. I don't know if I would go to that expense, but certainly I think New Orleans would be, the food, the music. It's definitely on the bucket list. I'd love to try and get there next year. Is it next year the World Cup? Where the World Cup's in about 55 different countries in North America, Canada, Mexico. So I would love to get to. I'd love to get to New Orleans. I think is it June? So I'm not sure if it's before the World Cup actually starts. Obviously, very confident that Scotland are going to get there, but New Orleans would be fantastic. And one of the guys from the Dundee CSC who was on last week, Kevin, a guy called Innes. So I think he's looking to go. He's been to Japan. He's been pretty much everywhere in the last few years, and certainly it would be great to catch up with him if we get the opportunity to go to New Orleans next year.
Yeah, definitely. I do think if you go to the World Cup in America, the price of tickets alone might be, you need to dig into the savings for it, really. It's going to be hundreds and hundreds of quid. So it's sad what football's becoming, that element. Like what I started doing recently was going to non-league games, and I absolutely love it. I went to see a club in London called Dulwich Hamlet. I don't know if you know them or not.
Yeah. I know them. So
they're big kind of provocators for Palestine. They have a really kind of left-wing, left-leaning fan base. They have amazing food at their stadium. They have a bar at their stadium. If you're non-league, you can have beers while you watch the match, obviously. And all their songs, their supporters' songs, are about them being shite. How bad of a team they are. And it was just the best crack, imaginable. They play in pink and blue, and it was so much fun. There was a Celtic flag at that match as well, put up in the barrier behind the net.
There's a pink and blue strip behind your head.
Yeah, that's Fontaine's DC Bohemian shirt.
Is it the Bhoys top? Okay.
The Bhoys top. So all the money that was raised from people buying those shirts went to Palestine. So, of course, I would be a Derry City fan first and foremost, but everybody bought the Bhoys top, and Derry and Bhoys would have quite a kind of close link, and we respect each other. We have the same values, and we stand for the same things. So. Everybody bought this top. You'll not be able to walk through Derry without seeing one of them, to be honest.
Was there not one of the guys from Kneecap who had that on Glastonbury last week?
Possibly
Yeah,
they've done
he was wearing it.
music together. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you watch that? Did you watch their set?
Only saw the last song. That was cracking. Absolutely, it got a lot of press, but no, really brilliant to see.
Yeah. So their DJ Provy,
It's from
as
Derry.
he's affectionately known, he's from Derry.
Mhm.
JJ. I would know him a bit. Like if I saw him in the street, I would be able to,
Oh, yeah.
say hello to him and stuff. But he's
Just
a
because he
very,
wears
very
that balaclava, everybody would know him if they saw him on the street.
who's this boy? Yeah, he's a nice guy. I remember him. He used to play a lot of open mics in Derry. So he
Uh-huh.
would go up and he was doing like singer-songwriter stuff, like, almost like James Blunt type bollocks, but he definitely went in a better direction, so more power to him.
Yeah. Fantastic. On Bohemians, I've got family in Dublin, and there's a bunch of nieces and nephews who are teenagers, and they're all massive Bhoys fans. And on the subject of Derry City, you've got to go back and see our interview with Paddy McCourt. We had him on the show.
On?
Yeah, and he was great. It's very, very good fun. You can hear
Derry
his
Belly.
you can hear his opinion of Derry girls, for example. That's how we opened the conversation. Pile of shite or great crack? You tell us.
Pile of
Derry
shite.
Pele. No, he enjoyed it. So he loved it.
Sorry, Paddy.
Kevin, when you were saying that, your man from Kneecap used to sing James Blunt, I guess that's why he always wears a balaclava.
I mean, there's no way of getting away from the shame of exhorting that from your lungs, So he, I would wear a balaclava too if that was the case, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, back to front.
But no, he is a nice guy. Just his music originally wasn't for me, but he's always been really cool with me. So enjoyed the crack with him.
Well, everyone's enjoying their success. I remember I spoke to my cousin about them ages ago. He was like, have you ever heard of this sort of trio of doing Belfast sort of rap? This was before anyone knew about them. And he's the guy who sort of plugs me into what's going on back home. And also, he used to be Michael Fassbender's agent, and they're still very good friends. And that's how Fassbender got involved in the movie. Was my mate stroke cousin was like, you got to get on with these guys because they're going to blow up, and this movie's going to be part of that. So that was a great success. Also, speaking of entertainment, Mobland. Anyone been watching Mobland yet?
Loved it.
Yeah.
Oh man, Helen Mirren is such a bastard. Like I've never seen a worse woman in my life than Helen Mirren in Mobland.
And probably never heard a worse Irish accent either.
I'm going to stand up for both of them. No, it's not as bad as I thought. I heard Brosnan was like, oh, Betty's tongue, that kind of thing. But it wasn't that bad.
He's from Tralee. He's from Tralee.
He's from Navan, yeah.
And I would have expected him to. It was good fun.
It was good. And Fontaine's DC doing the theme tune as well.
Starburster, great song.
Yeah. I've just finished Mobland. I enjoyed it very much. So it was great.
I mean, the best show of all time, obviously, is The Sopranos.
100%.
100%. Like there's no defeating that. But Mobland is it was just renewed for a second series there. So looking forward to seeing where it goes.
All right. Well, I was looking forward to seeing where this conversation went today, Kevin. It went to lots of interesting places, and I'm glad your connection sort of resolved itself towards the end there. But it's been very interesting to hear all about Tokyo CSC. I might be there for around the New Year time. There's talk of us going to visit my aforementioned sister-in-law and seeing around us a bit. And I don't think we'll be in Tokyo a great deal because we've been to Tokyo before, but I'd like to get out into the countryside and, see some of the real Japan, as they say.
So the action happens.
The big city. Is climbing Mount Fuji a massive undertaking or easy enough to scuttle up it of an afternoon?
Well, I've obviously never done it, but I do know that it's a bit of a hike, but you should be okay. There is a town called Fujisawa. It's incredible. Like Mount Fuji is looking onto like a small town, and it's one of the most amazing images you'll ever see. If you go there, stay in that town, and just eat it up and enjoy it.
And if I do, I'll definitely be down to the Footnik for a live match. It'd be great. Be great to drop in there.
Good man. Well, I will hopefully see you there, Gav. If you want to come along too, David, it would be great.
Oh, fantastic! Count me in.
Let's just do it. Let's just go to Japan, then go to New Orleans, and all travel together, and be best buds.
I'll leave Gav to do the Mount Fuji.
You're not walking up that hill.
I'll give him my camera. Yep. So But Kevin, brilliant to see you again. And
thanks, David.
If you're coming through Bangkok, definitely come in and see the famous world famous Bangkok Celtic Supporters Club. And
I'll be back
to have another few beers, because that was a great evening we had together.
We had a really, really nice time, and when someone walks up to you and says "Hail, hail," it's going to be a good night.
Definitely.
Well,
absolutely.
It's been a good night tonight, Kevin, or a good morning, or a good afternoon, wherever people are watching from. It is a Celtic world after all. So thanks so much for being with us.
I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for having me on, and anytime you want me on, I'll come on and talk about a shed again.